are in listen-only mode.
Hello once again, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going to go ahead and get started on our workshop. I just want to touch on a couple things here at the very, very beginning regarding setup, but what I like to do after that is then take members' questions first, and then we'll rotate over to people that are here on trial, thinking about taking a trial, whatever, okay? First of all, I do want to show this is a really nice short setup here in the ES. Okay, this is the Wave 5 football short, a beautiful short all the way through here. And again, I don't like to do the second entry, which is this Wave 2 right here. Okay, your real trade was up here, and this is a great trade. I mean, just on the break, say around the 37.50 level, we came all the way down to the 25, 26 level. That's 10, 11 handles. That's about $500 if you're able to hold it. So anyway, good trade setup. Then that was following the long down here. So, okay, so a couple things. First of all, let me show quickly on the bars. For some of you who are new to this or may not know, your arrows are different, Mike. We'll get to that. Okay, so let me just a little housekeeping here. First of all, when you put your bars on, all right, you were sent two. One are the HBT bars and the other one is the C3s. Okay, they're both the same. The reason for that is some people that are in Europe, the HBT bars don't show up properly. That's why the C3s are in here, because they're a little bit different. And also because of the naming. Some of you may have bars already that have Final Four as their name, if you have other bars from vendors. So if that's the case, these won't show up if you have another one that's got the same name. That's why the C3 was in there, okay? But you only need one of them. What's important is for the tick trend, tick reversal, and tick open offset, you've got to have 221 as your settings. That's the setting that I use. You can experiment with them, but I like 221. So make sure you've got that in there. Most of the times when they import, it's like this, but sometimes they're not, depending on how your machine is configured. So if it's not, you need to configure it to 221. Hover over here with your mouse, right click, and then left click where it says set default. And then you'll always have that there. I like to use 8 days, and I like to use a session template called the Oracle, which I'm going to show in a minute, just real briefly. I'm not going to go in how to set it up until later in the session again. Okay, but it's the session template called Oracle if you're going to use the Oracle indicators. Okay, so the Oracle indicators, for example, I've got the Oracle Bands 2R on here. They use the special template for the session. I'm going to show it, but not show how to build it right now. Come on, Ninja. Okay, so what you do, go to your control panel, go to Tools, Session Manager. You're going to take the default 24/7 and copy it, and then I name it the Oracle. I'm going to show how to set this up later today, but not now. Oracle, and then it starts Sunday at 3 p.m., closes Monday at 2 p.m. Every day. Start Sunday 3 p.m., start Monday 2 p.m., and use UTC 8 Pacific time for the session template, and then save it. All right, but I'll show how to set that up later. But that's what you have to do. Okay, just touch on that for now. I'll come back to it later. Question on what indicators to put on the chart initially. Okay, so what I like to have on my charts, I have the Oracle indicator, That's the one I just mentioned. You need to have this proper session template for the Oracle indicator. For most of the equities, I set my band ticks to 4 and apply it. Okay. Have the Oracle Seer. I use the standard mode, which is 3. That's the default. That gives us the magenta, the blue, and the yellow bars. I have the Oracle SQ. Oracle SQ. And the Oracle QB2. Now I've got the QB2 on here, and I'm going to show the settings on that. Okay. And then we're going to get deeper into this. So that just on the pure setup by itself, you can also put the Oracle DT. I'll show that on another chart, but this is the cleanest setup. When you put the Oracle QB2 on here, and I'll go deeper into it again, if you don't want to use the SQs, because it's defaulted to use the SQs. It's defaulted to use either the red or the green when they get to 20 or below for a buy, 80 or above for a sell. If you don't want that and trade it wide open, then use none. Okay, doesn't matter what else is in here. None, apply, and then reload. Okay. I recommend that you put 2 charts up side by side later on, not now, when you're done trading. Use one with the QB2 that comes with the default setting like this. The second one that is none. Okay. Do not create a chart template, and I'll repeat this again. Do not create a chart template with any of these Oracle indicators. The Oracles are what produce the trends for the day and the bands. That will mess them up. Okay. So please do not create any templates like that. Chart templates. When you're done with NinjaTrader, when you exit, it says, do you want to save your workspace? Put yes to all, and that way when your charts come up, they'll be there. Okay. All right. That's what I wanted to show initially. I know there's going to be more questions on this, but what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to circle over to the members' questions first, so we can get those out of the way, because it's not fair to the members. They've heard this probably 50 times, but if you're new, you haven't. So that's why I'm going to structure it this way. Ferguson, your question is, why did I turn the SQ off today? Well, I like trading in the markets in the first hour and a half to 2 hours without the SQ. You just get more trades that way, and I can manage them faster. That's the only reason. The YM is the only one that I kept the SQ on. Just my choice, that's all. If you go back and look, you'll see that there's a lot of good trades that are produced when the SQ is off. For example, this was an SQ short up here, wave 2. This was an SQ long here, this wave 2. But this one did not qualify for the S2. At least I don't think it would. It might have qualified with persistence, but generally not. That's the only reason. And I'll continue to run them that way, I think. I'll continue to run the equities, with the exception of the YM, with the SQ on none. But it's your choice down the line, and that's why I say you have these to work with. Compare the two. All right, Mike, you said your ES arrows are a bit different than mine, and how is that? Remember, I'm running 2 things here. I'm running, this is the Oracle QB, so it's just a standard Oracle QB. It's not using the SQ. But I'm also running the Oracle Bands 2R. So if you're seeing an entry here, that's off the 2R. If you're seeing an entry here, that's off the 2R. If you're seeing another entry here, that's off the 2R. That's the only reason I can think that it's different. Check that out and let me know. This is the standard QB I'm running here. The default standard QB. Is that why? Okay. So these extra arrows that you're probably talking about here, because it's black. I don't know if you can see it. Black and black. It's trading the extended band to the upside. You have the QB2 on. So on your QB2, like I showed, if you want to match it up, Mike, turn off, use Q or S and put none on there. And then apply it and reload it. And you'll get the same thing. I just put both of them out so as to not confuse people at the beginning, but once you start working with the QB2, you probably won't find a need for this for the normal QB, because it does everything the normal QB does and a lot more. Right? Okay, Michael, I can do that probably later today for you, Michael P. And yes, do not save a template with the Oracle indicator on it. If you did, you got to dump it. You got to get rid of it. Okay? You did. You did set one up. So just remove it. Delete it. Same thing. Let me show you the 4 indicators you cannot set up chart templates with. It's any of the Oracle indicators, there's four of them, that show the trend for the day and the bands for the day. Whether or not they're producing arrows to buy or sell. Okay, the 4 ones that you cannot put on a chart and save a chart template are the Oracle indicator, which is what I'm showing here. This is the one that has the daily trend and the buy band, the sell band, the gold band, and the extended bands, but no trade signals. Okay. Then the second one, I'm going to go in the sequence, is Oracle signals. Okay. That's the one that is the same as this, except that it's got logic built into it to produce signals. Okay. The third one is the Oracle Trader 3. That's the same as the Oracle Signals, except that it has a auto trader built into it that you can use. All right, and then the fourth one is either Oracle Bands 2R or Oracle Bands 4R. Okay, which I'm running the 2R on ES. Those are the 4 you cannot have a chart template saved with them on. Okay. You need to recreate those charts afterwards without any of those oracles on there. And then once you create one chart, you can save that chart template, bring it up every time, and then add whatever oracle you want on there. Okay? And then leave it. And then when you exit NinjaTrader, you just save your workspace. Is there a reason I use the 2R for the ES but not the others? Yeah. Remember I use the 2R, the bands 2R for the ES For the meats, that's cattle, hogs, feeders, lumber if you trade it, and then the grains, and also the softs if you trade cocoa or orange juice or sugar. That's why. Why? Because they don't have as many bars and they're slower than say the Russell or the Nasdaq or the YM. That's why. Now you can use, and the other thing is because they're slower, the SQ is different. Okay, the SQ is set to 6 on that one versus 12 normally. Okay. Are there special settings for the 2 hour? It's already built in, Pete. Are you talking about the 2 range or the Oracle 2R? This has the settings built in automatically. Everything's automatic in here. Okay. All right, let me see now. Members' questions. Mike, let's see. Dennis. Okay, Dennis, here's your question. Let me see. Okay, so Dennis wanted to go over the QB2 settings as to what they mean, just for point of clarification, okay? So let's see, we have that on the YM. Let me bring that up. Oh, we have them on all of them, but ooh, this was an absolutely smashing YM trade here. Long, wasn't it? A huge trade. All right. So, question. The filters. Remember, there's trend filters on here if you want to follow the trend, and the trend here is defined as the DT, the dynamic trend. Right now, the trend is up. I can tell that because it's ghosted here, but when we changed to this pink color, our trend was down. When we change back to the green color, our trend is up. So the trend filter, which is off right now, it's not being used. They're both off. And I'll talk about what even and odd means, okay? All right, so when we have the Q or the S filter, which is the SQ down here, right? Just by point clarification, Q is the red, S is the green, okay? Q is the red, S is the green. Our waves, whether they're impulse waves or retrace waves, are numbered. All impulse waves are odd numbers, okay? All retrace waves are even numbers. So it may sound confusing at the beginning, but it's not. Let's take a look at it. We were going up on an impulse, so that's 1. We retraced to 2. We went up to 3. We retraced to 4. And then we broke our pattern. We broke it right here. We were doing good until right here, and we broke it. All right. As we came down, this was a wave 1 and then a wave 2. So again, the even waves are always retraced waves. We're always retracing after the direction of the thrust. If the thrust is up, then we're going to retrace back. Okay? So what does this mean? It means that the SQ filter for odd waves is off. For the even wave, it's on. So in this particular case on YM, I'm using the SQ for my wave 2 setups, okay? I'm not using it for the football though. All football settings that are wave 5, of course, are odd. All footballs are going to be an odd setting, okay? This football, that's odd. Any football that you see is an odd setup. All footballs are odd. So I don't want to use the SQ on my footballs. I want to just trade them straight out because they're so good generally. All right, very good. So I don't want to use the SQ here, and I don't want to use the SQ here, and I don't want to use the SQ here. I don't want that. So that's why the SQ filter for the odd, which is the footballs, are off. Okay, it's only being used here on the even retraces. This was the wave 2 retrace. This was the football, and then we came up on the wave 2. So that's the wave 2, and it was using the SQ. Okay? This is not. This is a football. So try to find another one. This is a football, so it's not using it, but you see over here, this was a wave 2. It's using it on the wave 2. This was a wave 2, and it was using it. That got beat. This was a wave 2, and it was using it. This is a football, and it's not. And this was a wave 2, and it's using it. Okay? Does that make sense? That's the key. And like I said, if you don't just put it up on the now, if you want to see more than the wave 2, and I don't recommend it, right? Anything on here that's got a negative number means it's not going to draw an arrow. All right. So obviously there's going to be no arrows drawn on a wave 1 or a wave 3. Okay. On a wave 5, which is a football, it's going to draw an arrow. I don't want to see the 7. I do want to see it on 9 as well. If you want to also see the 11, which is rare, make it a positive number and you'll see it. Okay. The reason I don't normally want to see those is because remember, once we have a wave 5 and we go above the cyan band or below the cyan band, I typically don't want to take any more trades. I don't really have any good examples here of this because it was pretty harmonic, but that's why. All right, so back on this. If you want to see a 7 wave, then make it positive. If you want to see the 11, make it positive. They're very rare. All right. If you want to see, in addition to the wave 2 retrace, the wave 4 retrace, make it positive. So right now it's only set to take and trade and show arrows when we get to the retrace of wave 2, not 4, not 6, not 8, not 10. If I were to activate all these on a big move up, you'd get a lot more arrows. I answered your question, Kurt? Okay. See, let's see. Now I missed one. Okay, Pete, you said your orange band on the ES is somewhat lower. That's because you don't have the right session template on there, and you're overseas. So I think we're going to have to do something for you. We're going to have to. The first thing is we got to make the proper session template. But because you're overseas in Australia, there's something else that you may have to do on that, and I'll try to have to troubleshoot that with you later today. Okay? It has something to do with a box called RTH because you're 17 hours ahead, I think, right? 17 hours ahead. You're already on the next, probably the next day. So there's something we're going to have to do on that to sync you up. Okay, let's see. Gordon, your question. Wait, I'm still missing some. Hang on. Ray, your question. Can you have the Oracle and the Oracle Band 2 on the same chart? Yeah, but there's really no reason for that, Ray. They're going to duplicate. All the Oracle is going to do is duplicate the bands on the Oracle Band 2. That's all it's going to do. So there's really no reason to have it on there. Yeah, if you do, you get double bands because they're probably different sizes, right, Ray? If you're getting different size bands, it's because one may be set to 2 or 4 and the other one to 6 or 10. That's why. And then you're going to get a much darker yellow background. So no, I don't recommend you do that. There's no reason to do that. Just one or the other. You only need one of them on there. Well, I take it back. If you're using the mini trader and you want different setups from different oracles, then you can, but I don't want to go there right now. I mean, you can put like the Oracle bands 2R up here, and you can also put the Oracle signals up there. I don't, that's a whole different thing though. That's way beyond, I think, what most people want to see. I'd lose 95% of everybody if we went there. Okay, Gordon. No, unfortunately, Gordon, been asked that question before. Is it possible to get an audio alert when an ellipse trade is indicated? And do ellipses redraw? They don't redraw. I mean, what you see is what it is. Now, what it will do, let me show an example. Don't know if we have. Okay, what it will do. So initially, it drew the 5. This was the 5, the wave 5 football right here, right? But then we continued lower and we made a 7. So it drew the 7 as well. If we would have continued lower to make a 9, it would have drawn the 9 as well. And in the rare event we were to do an 11, it would draw the 11. But excuse me, but they don't redraw. Once they complete, that's it. They never redraw again. Same thing with the cyan bands. Once the cyan band is complete, it never redraws. It stays the same. So you never have the problem like some software where you get a signal or you get an indicator that draws on the chart in real time, and then when you go back and look at it historically, it's different. That doesn't do that here. Okay. Let's see, BB, you had a question. What's that? Oh, a trade for me. If the high of the day today holds in NASDAQ, then 64.50 is a target in the next 10 days. It's starting, looks good. Okay, I'm going to keep that in mind. Let's see, Polly, question. You're 16 hours ahead, Pete? Yeah. So I think we're going to have to make a change. I'm going to have to work with you to see what it's going to be there. Okay. The solution, well, I don't know what the solution is going to be yet. It won't be hard. Okay, Polly. There's a red arrow showing up, but it did not reach the wave 2. Would you still take the trade on which which chart, Polly? YM. So you're talking about right here, these arrows? Okay. So your question is, there's red arrows here, but it didn't reach the target. Why are there arrows? Okay, so keep in mind two things. First of all, the software is using combined Gann and Elliot wave analysis. Okay, things have to be perfect. They have to fit the scenario of both. So we have to have a correct wave 2, for example, and we have to have correct Gann analysis. It doesn't mean we have to hit our projected target, okay? Because those projected targets are nothing more, well, nothing more. If I do show stats and apply this, okay, remember I have, and here's the other thing, you generally want to, 8 days is good. 8 days to load on your chart is good. You don't want to go much more than that unless you're using one of these other instruments that doesn't trade that much, like the meats, the grains. Then I go usually 20 to 24 days. But any of these other markets that are very active, 8 days is fine. So what is this doing? It's going back and it's looking at every single combination of swings that are in here on wave swings and calculating what the average is over the entire population in the chart data series. So a leg up one, an up move on a 1 is typically on average 18 ticks. The retrace down is typically 13 ticks. On a down pattern, the move down is typically 18 ticks, and the retrace back is typically 13 ticks. All right, we didn't get 13 ticks. This is 13 ticks here. Okay, again, it's just a statistical cone estimate. We didn't get there. However, we were still good from our standpoint of our Elliot and Gann analysis, so that's why it signaled it. So many times you will get arrow setups where you have not gotten to the retrace target or you've exceeded the retrace target. Here's an example here. This was our retrace target on the 2. We went 1, 2. We came through it a little bit, right? And we got our arrows. Here, this was our 2 target. The market was weak, very weak, but still met the criteria and we got the trade. So if you're sitting and waiting on these targets to get hit, don't. Okay, that's not what you want to do. They're there for reference. They're there to help you determine where you want to perhaps place a stop or where you want to let something run to. But don't sit there and fixate on them, because that's not what they're designed for. Okay, that is not what they're there for. So, got it? Yeah, Gordon. Is this your first day on it? Yeah. Okay, so Gordon's question was, for those of us just trying the software the first time, is there a way to get the exact settings you use to help follow the discussion on the charts? Yeah. Again, the only difference here is whether I'm using, and I guess I need to clarify this. It depends on what indicators we're talking about, okay? Because there's two really good combined systems in here. One is the Oracle system. The Oracle is what, does the daily trends. It does the projected high and sell bands, the gold bands, the extensions, and the trends. That's the Oracle system with its own indicators that it uses. And then there's the QB. So there's two sets of combinations. I like trading the two together, but you can trade them separately. Uh, and I don't know if I can just do like a one size fits all everything. I think the way to approach this is the way I am approaching it. If I can make it any simpler, um, I'm open to any suggestions from anybody. Okay, you don't have any charts. So I think the best thing to do, Gordon, first of all, is to get your charts loaded, put a few things on there, and then start to ask questions in the workshops as we work through here. And then it becomes pretty clear. Eventually, when I get past this rush here, I will get some training videos up that you can access off the website, so I don't have to repeat it. Exactly right, Michael. Michael said the best thing to do is just to get a simple quarterback template to get on the same chart page with me, okay? So let's do that. Let's do that, okay? Let's build a simple, and then Mike, do we need to circle back to the ES again before we do that? I think so, right? Yeah, okay, hang on. So your question was, you just had an arrow form on the wave two, is that right? Is that what you're looking at? Yeah. Okay. Again, let me show you the way I like to trade this, okay? When we first started out here, this attempted to try to catch a wave two. It did not materialize. I mean, it did, but it wasn't much. So your stop was here, and you got taken out. Okay, then you got your wave five football. That was a great short trade. Okay, then you had another wave two that it was trying to form here that did not work. And as I indicated, your stop is right above the swing. That got taken out. You would normally re-enter that trade if we traded below this area again and we went to yellow bars or magenta bars. Okay, we never did. This arrow is an oracle. Two bands are extended, high, long. If you weren't running this, you didn't see this. You didn't get it. That's okay, because there's plenty of other trades here. So this was your wave 2 short here. Your stop would have been here. Nice trade. This could have been a reversing trade to wave 2 long, and your stop is under here. Okay. Poly, this is an instance where we came down. This was our projected retrace on our wave 2, and we went about 4 ticks under it. Okay. Remember, for every even wave, there's generally a corollary odd wave, whether it's a retrace or whether it's an impulse. Not to be confused, just follow the setups. Once you run it in real time, you'll see it. I hope I didn't confuse anybody with that one. Okay, so Mike, so the main difference between QB2 and QB is the SQ filter. Well, yes, the main difference is the SQ filtering, but there's also trend filtering. So you have SQ filtering and you have trend filtering. Those are the two differences. Well, you have independent trend filtering. Remember the quarterback had with trend signals, but that did not differentiate between odd or even waves. It didn't differentiate between footballs and retraces. That was a one size fits all. So the new one makes that distinction. Now I realize if you're brand new on this, a lot of this stuff you're probably scratching your head and saying, what's he talking about? I don't understand. Believe me, it'll come to you in time. So again, the main differences between QB and QB2. We had the trend filter odd, trend filter even, and that's based on the DT trend. And by the way, let's see, Michael, if you want to set this to bigger, you can. You can make this for 64 or even 96, and then do the indicator. It'll make it much bigger trend, okay? You can experiment with that. I don't use this that much, though. That's why it's off, okay? So the main differences, you have the trend filter with the odd, trend filter with the even, the SQ filter with the odd, the SQ filter with the even, and then, of course, your ability to pick what you want down here. I've got this set to none, which means it's, even though I've got use SF filter and I have everything else set, I'm not using it, all right? And if I was using it, it would only be applying to the even wave 2s, but I'm not using it. If you elect to use it, you've got several choices in here. Q is the red, you could use the red only. S is the green, you could use the green only. Q or S means either one. And Q and S means they both have to be there. So those are your four choices. This one's off. So I'm going to continue to run 3 of the 4 charts with the SQ filter off on the equities. I'll continue to run the YM with the SQ filter on. And that's how I'll run it this week. But again, here's the trade setups. You had the wave 2 trades set up here. You had the wave 2 here. You had the football short here. And the wave 2 short here. That is the DT. That's correct, Michael. Okay. Mike asked on the Oracle 2, what is the meaning of FBO arrows? right here show FBO arrows? Is that your question? As the guy said in The Wizard of Oz, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Just ignore that box. We probably should have taken it out, okay? Because we covered it up here. So this is a don't use it, by the way, because this will show an arrow sometimes that does not occur in real time. So that's the other reason. So pay no attention to the man behind the curtain when it comes to that one. Okay? We should have taken it out. Okay? Good question, though. Yes, Jim, thanks for doing that. Jim said to clarify what the meaning of persistence means. Okay, so let's go back to the YM, and what we're talking about here is this number, persistence. Okay, what does persistence mean? And believe me, I know this is, for a lot of you, this is your first day, and a lot of it is maybe daunting, but it will be a lot clearer to you. All right, so here's a good example. Remember what I said. I'm trading either the red or the green SQ. But sometimes, you see when this arrow was produced right here or here, our red SQ was not below 20. The threshold was 20. We were not below it. We were above it. If that was the case, we would not get an arrow here, at least not on the red. The green qualified, and I don't want to talk about that right now. But the red did not. A lot of times you'll get divergence where the market qualifies and then several bars later it starts to diverge, but it's still a good trade. The primary reason for persistence is to cover that divergence, all right? And what does that basically mean? Well, I have that value set to 30. So what it means is if at the time that we get a Gann-Elliot combination, in this case on the wave 2, because that's what we're looking at, if we have a wave 2 setup where it qualifies, but we're using the SQ filter and the SQ value is not where it needs to be because it's, in this case, too high, it'll look back up to 30 bars to see if we did qualify, and it did. So if that's the case, it looks back. Once it looks back and says, you know what, we've got a nice wave 2 setup. Do we have an SQ setup? Not now, but we're going to look back up to 30 bars. We do. Let's signal it. Okay? And you can control that. You can change that if you want. You can make it 20. I don't recommend you go any bigger. You could go smaller if you want, but 30 seems to be the good number. But that's called persistence. Let me see if I find another example of a persistence trade. Here's a good example right here. Right here. This is a wave 2 retrace, correct? Look where the red SQ is. Look where the green SQ is. They're both above 20. But because we had the good Gann-Elliot combination, it said, okay, we've got a combination. Let's look back up to 30 bars. Do we qualify on either one of these? And we did, so it signaled it. Okay, but yeah, thanks for that one, Jim. That's persistence. The other thing I want to point out is you can, if you want, change these threshold levels. Okay, I've got them set at 20 and 80. You can change it to say 25 and 75 if you want. I don't recommend that you go any less than 20 or any higher than 80, but you can work with this as well. I have found that for the most part, these default settings are the best. If it's not broken, we don't need to fix it. Okay? Now, what else can I help with? Or have I gotten all? See, just like when NASDAQ was hitting on all cylinders earlier this morning, Russell's now hitting on all cylinders. Had a nice long trade here, a second long trade here, a nice football short here, a wave 2 short here, a football long here. This is pure harmony right here. This is as harmonic as you can get. Oh yes, Michael, thank you. We have time for that. Michael's reminding us. Let's create just a simple template now. And then Michael P. had a question. One more. You're formulating the question now, Mike P. Or Mike, or did you make it? No, explain why QB versus QP2. Oh, uh, I just never got around to putting the QB2 on it. That's all. It's the only reason. It's the only reason. No other reason. Let's see. Could you please tell me how to get the background yellow and the cyan bars? Okay, so Pete, the backgrounds I think you're not going to be able to deal with yet because you're in Australia, and I'm going to need to get with you later today sometime. I'm going to have to get I'm going to have to get up where I can share your screen and see what's going on there because of your 16-hour time difference. Okay? So forget about the backgrounds for now. That's not going to solve your problem. As far as the bars are concerned, that indicator is called the Oracle Seer. And I'm going to cover that right now. Yeah, don't worry about your background. So let's talk about it. What's the easiest chart template to put up here? Okay, the easiest and the cleanest chart template. What are the indicators? All right, our indicators are, and I'm going to add one more on this. All right. So if you want an easy, the indicator you want, put on the Oracle Seer. Oracle Seer. That comes with the default mode of 3, and that will give you the cyan, yellow, and blue bars. Okay? Put the Oracle SQ on there. Okay? That comes with the 12 size standard. Okay? You can either put the Oracle QB2 or the Oracle QB on there. I recommend you put the Oracle QB2 as long as you understand that it comes defaulted using the SQs. Okay, so if you want to follow along on 3 of the 4 charts every morning, you change that to none, like I showed. All right, do not put the Oracle on. I'm going to remove this. Okay, so I'm going to remove this, but I'm also going to add the Oracle DT. Now, there's other indicators in here That as the week goes on, I'll talk about, but if you want the simplest setup, this is it. Okay? Oracle Seer, Oracle SQ, Oracle QB2, Oracle DT. All right, and then I'm going to hit OK. Let's let this come up. And then, Richard, you wanted to take a look at the crude, and we will. All right. So now, here's our chart. Of course, we have all these bands. That's what's being caused by the DT. So if you don't want to see it, just click up here where it says show, turn it off, apply, and you don't even have to reload it. It just does it on the fly. Apply, it's there. Apply, it's gone. Okay? So we have the Oracle Seer. Remember, that was mode 3. Color bars, leave it. Oracle DT, I showed that. There's no tab for the SQ. And on the QB, remember it comes defaulted. Well, it doesn't come defaulted. It comes defaulted to this. If you want to change it or leave it, it's up to you. Put none, apply, right click and reload NinjaScript. All right, and it'll redraw. Once that's done, then you right click templates, save as, call it whatever you want. You can call it the QB template. QB template. Okay. I think in the future I'll make a template that in the future for new people they can just well, that's problematic though, because then you got to know where to paste that in Ninja too. So I just find it easier sometimes to do this. But anyway, once you're done, templates, save as, and then you're going to get a box. You pick the name that you want and save it. You can call it QB, quarterback, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Then once that's done, you can right click on the chart and pick one of the 4 oracles that gives the trend for the day, the bands, etc. I recommend to start with just use the simple one, which is Oracle, this one. Right here. Oracle, new. I like using band ticks of 4 for the Russell, band ticks of 4 or even 2 for the ES. YM I use 4, EMD I'll use 4, NASDAQ I'll use a little bit bigger, 6, crude oil at 6, the currency is generally 4, okay? And then hit OK. So Oracle, one thing I control is my band ticks. If you want to make them the same size as the cyan bands, then set it to 4. They'll both be the same then. And then I hit OK. And then it's going to come up. And I don't know about you, but I could sure use a good cup of coffee when we're done here this morning. Just waiting for it to come up. All right, so here it is. It's come up. All right, so now we have this. This was our projected sell band today. You know, and I'll talk about how to work with this. Now, here's the one thing you cannot do now. The one thing, the kiss of death. Now that we have one of these oracles on here, we cannot do this. We cannot right click and say templates, save as. Okay? We cannot do that. It's forbidden. It's forbidden because we have one of these 4 oracles that I showed on the chart. So you never want to do that. When you exit, you just say, do you want to save workspaces? You say yes to all, and then you'll be saved. Now, I'll show how to build a new chart. Let's say we want to start from scratch and build a new chart. Yeah, Michael, what number is a good number to call you at? So when you start from scratch, you just go create your new chart, bring your template up that you saved. It'll come up, and then go ahead and add whatever oracle you want, and you're in business. Okay? Again, I'll cover that again tomorrow. I'm not so sure that I created a template already that just has this on it, so I don't want to confuse things. Yeah, Michael P., just put your phone number in there. Gordon, we're not going to have time, I think, today to go over the toolbar buttons. I already went over some of them, and then we can cover that again tomorrow. How's that sound? But I did promise, who was it? Richard, you wanted to take a look at the crude today. So let's do that. Now I'm going to go all the way back because some of you start trading Sunday afternoon. I know this because I do too sometimes. Yeah, I'll record it again, Gordon. So again, just a brief recap. Going into the day yesterday, our trend was up on the oracles. It was bright blue. Trend was up. Of course, we didn't gap much on the crude, so we traded straight up to the projected sell band, okay, and we got a wave 5 football short. We got a second wave 2 that I indicated if your stop was here, you would have got a scalp, but no more. Your stop would have got hit. But then as we trade below the line again, if you're yellow or magenta, you can re-enter that trade short. We moved to 5 a.m. and then we moved to the pit open. We got our wave 5 football short. We got another little short entry here, and then as I indicated, if you were trading above here with blue bars or yellow bars, it's long. As we broke below it again with yellow bars or magenta, it's short. All right. Now, some of you might continue to trade this. The only reason this stopped drawing is because I only have this set to go 100 bars. It's only set to draw 100 bars, and that's it. If I had it set for 150, and some of you can, it would have extended it out to here, at which case you would have had a long trade again through here. But that's not what it is, and that's not what I run. Okay? And so now we start to get a little choppier. We had a wave 2 trade set up here that got about 8 ticks, no more. A second wave 2 right here. And then we just had a wave 2 short that would have got stopped out right here. And that's the crude for today. Okay? That's our crude oil for today. Okay, Richard? Good enough on that? Tomorrow I'll show some other markets. Of course, you can run this yourself on the equity, on the currencies. Or you can run them on the grains, the metals, the interest rates, the DAX or the Bund over in Europe, copper. You know, it's good up to like 50 different instruments. Forex. You can't run the oracles on Forex. You can run the quarterback and the other indicators. If you've got a Forex feed, yes, you can. I found that not many people, at least that have NinjaTrader, trade Forex that much. Basically because if, unless you're trading some of the exotic crosses, like the Aussie yen, pound yen, things like that. No, it's not, boss. Did you get the pack? Did you get it? Send me an email and I'll get you a different link that has it. Okay? And then remove the other one. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap up. We had a nice, Russell's nice harmonic. We had the nice wave 5 long here, another long reentry here. We're doing well. Yeah, send it to info at Hypercent Trading, Bass. Info at Hypercent Trading, and I'll get you something different. Now you're over in Europe, right? So when you create that session template, you're going to need to check the RTH box if you want your oracles to show properly, because you're in Europe. Yeah, I have your number, Mike. All right, let's go ahead and break here. Went a little bit longer, but good. Let's get some coffee. Let's get that coffee, Jim. All right, everybody, take care. We'll see most of you tomorrow, okay? Believe me, it looks a little overwhelming right now, but when you're on this a couple of days, it's going to get really clear. You don't want to make it harder than it is. Stay with the defaults. The only exception would be if you want to turn off the SQs to put none. Okay. All right, everybody. Take care. I'm going to grab some coffee. We'll see you all tomorrow. Yep. Okay, Pete, I'll look for that. Sounds good. Yazoo, as they say. Yazoo? I say Yazoo. All right. Yazoo. Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye now. Bye-bye.